Welcome back, trainers. I was finally able to reach veteran yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and show you all the battles that got me up to that point, as well as the team that got me there. I've already showed this team a couple times on the channel, and it's gotten a really good response. I'm going to go ahead and show you, not only show you all these matches, but I go ahead and show you a couple losses, and I'm going to just give you the rundown of how the team works. So we lead with Lantern, and for the most part, the safe switch will be Machamp. And so if you run into any grass leads, switch to Machamp because you don't want to be able to use your hard counter, which would be Charizard. You want to go ahead and do something more neutral. So you'll use Shadow Machamp. The only time you'll actually save swap Charizard will be if you go up against a Pokemon like an Abomasnow, and I believe I show a match. I think I show a matchup here on this video. Or sometimes if you're going up against, let's say, a charm Pokemon with Lantern in the lead, and then you decide to use one shield, then I swap in with Charizard if they ended up using a shield. So right here, going back to the battle, they're able to take out my Lantern, and I do have to shield this one because they were able to get just enough to get to another Psycho Boost. Now this matchup is was very hard at first, so I wanted to make it seem like I was gonna bait, so that's why I over farm. And now right here, I'm gonna go ahead and see, as you can see, I farm a bit more, and I'm just hoping this goes through because otherwise this is definitely GG. And this trainer doesn't shield. They don't shield. They reveal that they have an obstacle in the back, and I immediately just go ahead and just switch on to Shadow Machamp. I did take a little bit, but then once I was able to just kind of put everything together, swapped in Shadow Machamp, took care of that obstacle. On to the next match, we got Lantern against a Sableye, and this is a pretty good matchup right here. So I don't really ever go Thunderbolt as a first move. What I go ahead and do, I lead up to the Thunderbolt, then I throw a Surf, because most of the time they'll go ahead and shield. And so in this case, they didn't shield. So what I'm just going to go ahead and do, I don't shield this first foul play. I'm going to go ahead and let it through. Now I'm going to go ahead and do Surf. Now, I actually don't think I even shield any of the foul plays. So this is definitely going to, I believe it's going to drop the shield. Oh, actually it doesn't. Wow, that's very surprising. And I think at this point, I think I invested shield. Yeah, I invested shield because I'm so close to just farming it down. And I'd rather just win switch advantage at that point because they're so low in health. And then now they're bringing the Medi. So this is looking good for us. So I'm going to go ahead and do a Thunderbolt right here. I don't think they're going to shield. They do have 2 shields left. I do have to recognize that this Medicham also has a ton of energy. I have to let him farm me down because I can't bring any Pokemon just yet. Now I bring in the Charizard. I'm going to go ahead and I believe I'm going to use my first. Actually, I might not use a shield here. Well, actually, never mind. I think by that point I counted enough to know that it was probably going to be a Psychic. And they bring in a Bastiodon. So this is perfect for us because we're actually just going to be able to just farm this Bastiodon all the way down. They will be able to throw a move, but that's fine. Even if it's a Flamethrower, it doesn't take us out. As you can see, it was a Flamethrower. It does bring us to the red, especially because I'm Shadow, but we're able to farm down. So you don't need to use a shield for Bastiodon if you're at full health Machamp. Right here, I'm going to go ahead and use my my Cross Chop. I think they have 1 shield left, and I'm actually able to get to 1 more, and I think I still have 1 more shield left. So that is why it's perfect for us, because our opponent made the mistake of swapping like that. Our Charizard already had enough energy, so when that Machamp went down, I automatically just pressed on Dragon Claw, boom, took care of the Medi, and that's a good game right there. Now we're going to hop on to the next match. We got Lantern against Noctowl. This is a perfect lead, but I know that they typically have, I think it's like a Sableye. Oh, so in this case, it's going to be an Umbreon. We're going to go ahead and switch. I was late in the switch there, but typically, anytime I see a lead Noctowl, there's going to be a Sableye that they safe swap to. In this case, it was an Umbreon. And I knew it wasn't enough for a Psychic, so I just went ahead and took it. Turns out it was a Dark Pulse. So now I'm just going to go ahead and do the Cross Chop just so I can be able to I'm going to be able to just farm down this Umbreon a lot better. And they're going to get to another move. I now know they have Dark Pulse. I doubt they have Dark Pulse and Psychic. At least that was my training process right there. So I take it, and I don't want to have a lot of energy against Noctowl either. I want to be able for them to take me out as soon as possible, but we are able to reach a Rock Slide before we get taken out. Our opponent is just thinking really hard right there. They finally swap back into the Noctowl. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the Rock Slide right here, and if they let it go through, it would do so much damage, but so they didn't. Now I bring back the Lantern, and we're perfect right here because we have 2 shield advantage, and I think their switch timer was just about to run out, so I want to make sure I can get that Thunderbolt and I am able to. And from this point, I'm just going to go ahead and just farm this Noctowl down. I think that's the plan here. I'm not going to go ahead, or at least force them to switch. And see, they ended up switching, and you see the Sableye was there. So they actually have Double Dark in the back, Noctowl Double Dark. Right here, I'm just going to go ahead and get, as soon as I get to Dragon Claw, I'm going to go ahead and throw it, because I want to get as much time as I can on the Sableye. And I think we still have 2 shields here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm just going to shield this one and do another Dragon Claw, because I just want to get rid of its last shield. I'm going to be able to get rid of its last shield right here. Throw the Dragon Claw. I wonder if that was CMP right there. And this would definitely take out the Sableye if they don't shield. They decided to use their last, I believe that was their last shield. And I think from right here, I'm just going to go ahead and, I don't think I'm able to farm down, or I might be too scared, but I might attempt to farm down right here, but then realize that I'm not going to be able to make it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do Dragon Claw right here, because now I don't think it's either have 1 more shield or no shield. Okay, so it doesn't no longer have any shields. Bring back the Lantern, and now I'm going to go ahead and do Surf. Our opponent knows that they're going to win at this point. They concede the match. That's a good game. Moving on to the next one, we have Lantern going up against a Noctowl. So a really great lead again. And as you can see, I'm telling you guys, Noctowl lead will most likely have the Sableye face up right there. Fearing most likely a Lantern. Right here, I'm going to use the Thunderbolt. I just ended up using it right there because I was just playing aggressive. I was trying to play an aggressive game, because from this point, a Surf would be able to just take out the Sableye. I'm not going to shield this right here. Going to go ahead and do a Surf. And if they don't shield this right here, it would be able to take out the Sableye. But I'm pretty sure they're going to shield it. Yeah, they're going to shield it. And because they shield it from this range, I can comfortably farm down Sableye. I will have to shield right here. But after that, I'm going to be able to get so much farm. And then we're going to have 1-on-1 shields, because the Noctowl has no energy right now because they swap right away. They bring back the Noctowl. I'm going to go ahead and use Blast Burn. I feel like they're for sure going to shield this. So I could have baited, but honestly, I just, in case they didn't, most of the times with Charizard, I don't really bait too much, to be honest. See, now I think we CMP right there. I'm going to go ahead and do the Blast Burn. And from this point, I think because I have so much, I don't want to lose that shield. So I'm actually going to let this Charizard go down. And I'm pretty sure this depletes all the energy with this Sky Attack. So now I'm bringing the Shadow Machamp, and they most likely had a Steel type because they concede the match. Really, really good match right there. I think this is the last match of the first set of 5. Gonna go ahead and use the Lantern against the Ninetales, and this is kind of what I'm talking about right here. So against this matchup, when it comes to Lantern going against a Charmer, I'm going to go ahead and do Thunderbolt. I always do Thunderbolt against this matchup for the first one. They shield that. And because they shielded that, like I mentioned earlier, I bring in the Charizard. They're going to hard counter us with the Lantern. That's fine. At least we know what's in the back. Because they were able to give us enough... they didn't switch right away. I was able to get the Blast Burn before they got to Surf. And they're still not throwing any energy right here. I'm going to go ahead and just shield this one time. Shield this one time and going to go ahead and try to go for another Blast Burn. And I am able to actually reach it, and I actually think that's actually CMP right there. We'll go ahead and find it right now, but if they don't shield, this would actually take them out. So they go ahead and shield that, and it was CMP. Now this is amazing for us. They're going to go ahead and throw this energy right here. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to bring the Machamp, and I'm just going to go ahead and farm down. I believe that's the plan I'm going to go ahead and do. They're going to reach the Surf, but I think in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and just take it. I'm going to take the Surf. It does do a lot of damage, but I just didn't feel like using the shield right there. So now I'm going to get to the Rock Slide, because I knew they were going to bring back Day 9, and they do bring back Day 9. And they were able to have a Medi in the back, so I'm very surprised. The match might have been completely turned around had they just brought in Medi in the first place. Now I'm going to go ahead and just shield this right here, because it's most likely a Psychic. Ends up being a Dynamic Punch. Very surprised. I haven't seen many Dynamic Punch Medis. Going to go ahead and Thunderbolt. And I figured because they're most likely maybe running Double Nuke, or I don't know if it would be Dynamic Punch, Ice Punch, but I'm able to get to the Surf, and this is enough to take them out. And this is going to give us the first. It's going to give us a 5-0 set, which I needed. And guys, I was so close. I was like in the 14-20 somethings, and look, I was so close. I got to 24.98 on that set. I was like, dude, man, I have to keep going. So on to the next match. I haven't seen too many. I don't really recall this Pokemon's name. I think, and I'm not gonna mess it up. I'm gonna go ahead and from this, because I knew it was a Grass type. or I knew that it has a leaf blade. It's using a bug fast move, but I knew it had a leaf blade. So I decided that's exact. I just swapped out to my Machamp, and then I'm gonna go ahead and shield this first one. And I almost went ahead and almost tapped right there, but it didn't have I didn't have enough. I didn't reach it just yet, and because of that, I shield. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and right here, I'm able to farm down because I have done this match, and I did realize from that point I am able to farm down. And most likely was grass double steal in the back because I ended up giving up. I had so much energy load in the Machamp. Now this one, it's one of those tough losses because going against Lantern Bastiodon, I know this team by heart now. It's Bastiodon, Medicham, Victory Bell right here, and I was trying to do the best I could because normally they stick around with the Bastiodon, throw a Stone Edge. So my plan was I wasn't gonna throw any energy at all. I was gonna wait for them to Stone Edge me, but they actually ended up swapping out right away to the Medi, which kind of threw me off. And they had enough to get to Psychic. The Medi had enough energy to get to a Psychic, but it threw a Power Punch. So I was thinking, did they bait me? So now we're fighting for Switch, and right here I shield again, thinking they have Psychic, but most likely this Medi is just running Power Up Punch and Ice Punch. And because of that, I unfortunately missed alignment. I don't get switched, so I miss alignment. And this right here is going to be able to take me out. I think it's another Power Punch. It doesn't take me out, but I was thinking it was just going to be able to take me out. So that's why maybe I should have just stuck around. But it had, I think at that point it had like 2 power-up punches. So I was thinking, dude, there's no way. There's no way, right? They're going to be able to farm me down before I get to a move. So I end up swapping out. But as you can see, that completely just wrecked me. Because I'm going to bring in... I think I'm bringing the Lantern just to be able to get taken out. Never mind, I'm bringing the Charizard. Going to get super card countered by the Bastiodon. So this team has definitely given me PTSD, man. I'm just like... I just can't beat it. So going up against this team, it's just really, really hard. It's definitely... Even if you have a semi-good lead against a Bastiodon... Very tough loss right there. Moving on to the next match, we got Lantern against Medicham. Normally, I always win. Anytime I see a Medicham in the lead against Lantern, I always, for some reason, I always win these matches. I'm going to go ahead and do Thunderbolt right here. I will do Thunderbolt on the going up against Medi right away. Once I get to it, throw the Thunderbolt. And by this point, they're farming over. Normally, it's just a Psychic, so I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go through. And once they do the Psychic, I'm going to go ahead and get to my Surf before they get to 6 because most likely they're running Psychic Power Punch. I just don't want them to take me out. I want to be able to get a move out first, and then they make a mistake of switching out. I try and get to the Surf. I can't reach it, but now I can safely bring in the Machamp. And I'm going to go ahead and take it. Lickitung is more of a bulk. Depends more on their bulk, so I knew it's not going to do a huge amount. Now I'm going to do Power Punch, and I'm hoping they're going to let this go. Otherwise, because I don't want to invest a shield because I still want to win switch advantage. And they don't invest a shield. And we have right now 2 shields. I knew they're going to bring back the Medi. So I bring in my Charizard. And I decided, because I want to preserve the health on my Shadow Machamp, which comes to play. And you'll find out. I ended up farming down. I'm like, dude, what does it have in the back? They end up having a Bastiodon. And this right here actually ends up costing the match. They should have shielded this right here, because as soon as they're able to take me out, this now brings them into farm down range. It comes so close, I'm thinking I might lose, but I have enough health. And because of that blast burn, that was the decisive factor, and I was able to take that game. So at this point, I won 2, lost 1. Now we move on to this next match right here. We got Lantern going up against the G-Fisk. Normally the play here, so I try to throw before they get to 8. Most of the time, they will not bait. They'll go straight Earthquake. But I didn't want to lose my shields right away, so I'm not gonna go ahead and shield this. And because it might have been bait, but it wasn't in this case. So now I bring in the Shadow Machamp, and I also have to pay attention, make sure I'm counting right, because it could also be that they throw a Rock Slide. But right here, they had enough for another Earthquake, so I had to shield this, invest a shield, and then just hope for the best that they're not going to switch to something that's just a super hard counter. and they end up switching. I can't see right now because of all the the flames right there. But I'm gonna go ahead and do cross chop, and it ends up being a Sableye, and I went ahead and baited the Sableye with cross chop because the rock slide would do a ton of damage. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the rock slide. So this match is actually almost looking like I'm turning it around because this goes through, and now so I bring in my Shadow Charizard to farm down to see what's in the back, and they have a Lantern. So that was gonna be very tricky. I wasn't gonna win the match. Why? Because I'm down a shield, and because of that, we're just gonna lose this matchup. So good game, good game. Unfortunately, it seemed like maybe we should have fought for a switch there, but honestly, I don't think we had that game. I don't think we had the game. So it comes down to the wire, to the final match. Obviously, I win it, but it's really to the final wire because it's so close. It comes so close. We got a great lead, and I was super happy about that. They're bringing a Sableye. It's just like we've gone against this team so many times. Lead knocked out, Sableye, Sage Swap. I went up to the Thunderbolt, threw the Surf instead. And now at this point, I was going to go ahead and do my Surf, but I went a little bit over. They get to a move. I'm going to let it go through. I normally just let the foul play go through. And now at this point, I want to do Thunderbolt because I just want to get it to be as low as possible. And they end up shielding that. And because they shield that, I'm going to try and get to another move. I do want them to throw energy. I just want them to take me out at this point. Because now I'm going to bring in the Charizard and start getting a ton of farm. I'm up 2 shields. So this is looking really good for us. I'm like, dude, we're definitely, we got this. I'm going to go ahead and shield this first one. Unfortunately, I will have to throw because they will be able to make it to another foul play. So I'm just going to go ahead and get to a range where I know it's going to for sure knock it out. Now I'm going to finally throw the Dragon Claw. And I'm just going to go ahead and wait to see what they have. We're looking good. If it was a Bastiodon, yeah, I don't think we'd win that match. But they bring back Noctowl, so this is a good sign. This is a good sign. Gonna go ahead and throw the Blast Burn right here. Gonna do a ton of damage. And I would be able to almost farm down right here. Because right here, I think this depletes some of all their energy. And it does, and they confirm it by switching out to Medicham. And I'm thinking, dude, we got this right here. Gonna do a Blast Burn. I'm hoping, and I was like, dude, I thought I was gonna be able to do a little bit more from that range. And I'm so scared because at this point, I'm thinking, could this be a Psychic? Because now I'm bringing the Shadow Champ, like, no. I'm thinking I was going to go back down, but it ended up being a Power Punch. But it's still very close. I was hoping that they weren't at a Sky Attack. And we end up farming down with Shadow Machamp, which is enough. At 3-2, is able to get us to Veteran. We finally get to Veteran with this team. This team has done so much for me. I'm going to go ahead and try to feature other teams. But one thing I do got to say is if you find a team that's working for you, that you're comfortable with, that you basically, in a sense, mastered, I definitely recommend that to help you climb. So if you have a team like that, keep using it to help you climb. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.